Today on Expert Showcase, we have Brighton West, and he's going to be talking to you about DIY online video training and how it can help you convert your potential customers. Hey there, Brighton. How's it going today?
I'm doing great, Chris. Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, you're welcome. I am so stoked for this episode. I mean, Brighton, our viewers have seen a lot of me yapping about video. We get a lot of great coaches and consultants. We've had a lot of great coaches, a lot of great consultants on, but you're the first person from my world, so to speak, that we've been able to have on. You've got Subscriber Nation, Authentic West Films, so you're a fellow video aficionado or purveyor of video or something fun like that. We're going to talk a lot about that today. Folks, you're going to want to stick around. At first, as you know by now, we go into our guest hero's journey, and in the second part, you're going to hear all about DIY video, and in the third part, you're going to hear all about visibility, credibility, and authority, and how Brighton's been using it in the video world, and we're probably just going to have a great conversation about video. So to kick things off, for those of you who don't know what a hero's journey is a journey of our guest, and many times it involves very high, very low points, and then kind of a rebirth and a resurgence. Sometimes it's just a minor tweak along the way that gets somebody to go from good to great, as Jim Collins would say. So Brighton, let's talk about your journey, your hero's journey. Where did you start off in this great world, and what got you to where you are today?
Great. Well, I started way back, I guess in the day, maybe a couple days before YouTube started, by hosting my own film festival of videos. I actually was living in Atlanta. All my friends worked for CNN, or they didn't work for CNN, and they were interested in video, which was kind of what I was. So we were all making just little, fun videos that you see everyone making now on YouTube, but we were making them and then hosting parties where we show these videos, and I actually set it up so I could play those videos online, and then, within 6 months, there's this thing called YouTube. So I was pretty excited and started using YouTube from the beginning in 2006, I guess. So working along there, I've had a number of other jobs, always been very interested in video as a hobby. I started doing a web series. I have had a web series called Vancouveria, and if you've heard of Portlandia, I'm here in Portland, Oregon. Portlandia makes fun of those of us in Portland who are a little bit kooky, I guess, a little bit far to the left. And we have a suburb, Vancouver, Washington, that's the exact opposite. So I did a great parody web series. I love doing parodies. I've done some short documentaries, things like that. But the one thing I learned was I really couldn't make any money doing that. And I had a lot of people asking me how they could do it. So I was on a plane flying home for Christmas and talking to my wife, and she's like, oh, well, if everyone's asking, you should make that a business. So I've kind of worked through that, decided, originally trying to teach people about web series. That wasn't quite right. Then teach people about using online video for marketing their business, and now specifically moving down to the niche of coaches doing their own video and kind of hosting their own YouTube channels.
Awesome. So just a quick recap. So you had you were in video already, and it's interesting for those of you who might not be, and Brighton, we're dating ourselves because I remember CNN when it first started, and TBS, and good old Ted Turner, and and everything coming out of Atlanta. In fact, Ted, owning the Atlanta Braves, all that other fun stuff. So you were in video. You realized very early on, like you said, back 2006, at the birth of this whole thing, that something was going to be powerful. You tried a number of different things that were maybe, I'll say, they were fulfilling in some way, but weren't paying all the bills. And then you listened to what people were telling you was needed, which is interesting. Most of the time we don't listen to what people are telling us is needed. We just do what we think is right?
Definitely, yeah. I have definitely fallen down that path of trying to produce something and scratching my head going, well, why does nobody like this? But that's one of the beauties of online video and like kind of that continuous stream of online videos is a lot of my videos that I produce come from the comments that other people leave or things that people ask for, and I'm like, oh, that's what they want to know. But I'm like, I know that, I can explain it. So it's a great kind of back and forth conversation, even though it's not like what we're doing right now, immediate back and forth. But someone asked for something, within a few weeks, I might have a video about it.
Excellent. And even though we're going to cover a lot of that, we're going to cover more about that in the second episode. I want our viewers to really hone in on something. Other than the fact we're talking about listening, if you're concerned about creating content, what Brighton just said is so poignant and such and to the point, and poignant and to the point, and under the definition under the dictionary in redundant says see redundant. Yeah, exactly. But he listens to people, and people will tell you what they want. And if you can give it to them, it's going to make things a whole lot easier. So back to the whole.
Actually, I want to add on to that, if that's okay.
Sure.
One of the best tips I have is, especially if you just have a channel that you're starting, is go look at the comments in some big. Someone who's big in your industry, Bob Proctor or something like that. Go look at the questions people are asking him, because he's probably too big to answer all those questions, and that's where you can get your questions from, and soon enough people will start asking you those questions. So go steal the questions from someone else's blog or videos. Exactly.
Well, let's face it, us in the personal growth industry, we're used to stealing ideas from everybody else. There's a very famous speaker who I won't mention who says, the first time he does something, he says, he will say, this person told me. The second time he says, I have heard. The third time he says, it's been said, and the fourth time he just says, I say. And it's kind of like, wow, okay, But anyway, and for those of you in his program, you will know who I'm talking about because you've heard him say it on stage. Thank you very much. Hint, hint. So it's very interesting. I think it's a great point you bring up, is go find, to repeat it, go find the information. Somebody in your industry who's getting questions, you answer the questions basically for them, but in your own video, and then if people are looking for that, they'll find you. One of the things I want to get back to, though, it's interesting, Brighton, because the one thing is I did take a look at your LinkedIn profile, and I know kind of how long Authentic West Films has been around. So I don't know, though, because it's intriguing if you want to answer it, before you started the YouTube thing, and before you decided to run your own film festival, were you doing videos before that, or did you have another career job, business, something before that, before you got into video?
Oh, I've had lots of different careers and jobs and continue to have them. So video is not a full-time thing for me right now. I'd love for it to be, but right now I still work 3 days a week for somebody else, and so that's been kind of over time having different jobs, but it's kind of interesting to try to build a LinkedIn profile when you're explaining that you work for nonprofits or work for architecture firms or work in computers, which have been all the jobs that I've had over the years of doing video. But the cool thing is the video has been the one thing that stayed, which is why over the last few years I've been pouring more of my time into making it, a real business where where it's going to support me in the long run.
Exactly. Well, I think you're going about doing it the right way, and I think it's real interesting, and this goes into the hero's journey, is the fact that you were doing other things, but you've always had this calling to do video, or at least over the last 20 years or so. Like I said, I think it was about 19 years that you've really been doing video, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think I started out, and I think a lot of videographers were in photography, and now the camera that I often use right now, I'm just using a webcam, but I'll often use a DSLR if I want to get a higher quality video, or if I've got something other than white behind me and I want that to look good. That's the camera that I was using when I was shooting photography, but it shoots video really well too. So it's it's been a great kind of transition of the photography cameras being able to shoot video.
Yeah,
so it's another hero's journey, the Canon hero's journey of photography to video.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I think it's so critical. It's funny because so Brighton and I have done a lot of talking offline, and if you can't tell, we both love to go all over the place. So for those of you who can't follow us, what we're talking about, that's okay. You're in the majority at this point. But for those of you who can follow us, great. Call us up. You'll probably be great clients for us. But the thing of it is here is that I believe if we had hours to talk, and we went through your entire journey, I would believe that you would find this common thread of why not only video was calling you, but why you stuck with it and why you're now pursuing to make it a career. You talk about being in the computer industry. The interesting part is I started off life as an entertainer, took a detour into IT for about 15 years, and even though I've been on and off the stage, in front of the camera, behind the camera, doing videography, running a high school TV station, doing all this other stuff throughout my entire life, it's only, over the last 4 years that I've kind of migrated back into doing what I should have been doing all along. But there's this common thread of creativity across everything. So I'm sure that if we had, like I said, I'm sure if we had enough time, you would probably find that same common thread in all the different jobs you were doing, all the different, like you said, you mentioned an architectural firm. I don't care if you're a janitor at an architectural firm or an architect, you have to be a creative soul to even want to work in an architectural firm, because it's
right.
It's part, art. That's what architects do, is they create things. Like Mike Brady. I think Mike Brady was an architect.
Mike Brady was an architect.
Oh, that's why we have so many architects, because everybody grew up watching. Now we won't even get into Brady much.
Exactly. Everyone wanted to be Mr. Brady.
Yeah, exactly. But therein lies a question, and I didn't. This is just completely off the cuff. Didn't give you any time to prepare for this. But can you see a creative streak flowing through where, regardless of what job you were in, there was always that creativity was that what drew you to each, or can you see a common thread through each job, or am I completely off base on that?
Well, actually, I think the common thread is more problem solving. Okay. And I think that, so when I was a landscape architect, it was solving problems. It was, making things beautiful. And then working in IT, it was, solving problems. This doesn't work, and there's a process that you go through to eliminate problems and get to a solution. Same thing with architecture. Now I'm working for a nonprofit doing management, and management is just about problem solving. And now what I feel like I'm doing with video is I'm solving people's problems, and that's the best thing to do on YouTube, is to find someone's problem. We already talked about it. Go look at someone else's blog, find out what people's problems are that they're having, and then solve them. And so I think that's what I like best, but I also really like storytelling. So that's why I've gotten into this, kind of solution here. So maybe the problem I'm solving there is people are bored and they want to hear a story. Excellent. Well, and I think that's a great place to kind of to wind down the hero's journey segment of our show and take a quick break. The one thing that I found very interesting, that I think is very applicable to what you've done as far as DIY, is your time in IT, and when you said there's a problem and there's this process to solve it. And that's what I believe you've done and are continuing to do with the additional videos and the Udemy course and other things that you are going to hear about in a little bit, to help people do video themselves, is giving them that process to end up doing video for themselves successfully. Is that a fair statement? Yeah, definitely, and I think I want to take this opportunity to recognize that there is that there's those technical processes, but there's also that content creation process, and they both have to happen. If you miss one, either you're going to have really, really bad video, or you're just going to have content that no one wants to watch. So I definitely agree with that. Excellent. Well, so far we've talked about Brighton's hero's journey, and the interesting part is that it's really been video. The video has been a common thread, and solving problems has been a common thread. You'll notice through his hero's journey that he was, has been involved in video and has taken it in different directions, but has listened to the people who have been around him, and allowing them to tell him what they want, and then him delivering on that. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to be right back with our Experts Focus segment of the show. And during the Experts Focus segment of the show, we're going to dig a little bit deeper into DIY video and online video training, and what Brighton's doing with Subscriber Nation, and give you some great tips and give you a great offer at the end. So stick around. We'll be right back. It's just crazy. Yeah, it is. It's like, oh my God. Yeah, during the break,
Bright and I were commiserating about how hot it is. He's in Portland, and so you're 90 degree. We're going to be getting in about a week. We just got through our 95 degree. I'm on the other coast. I'm out here in Pennsylvania. We just got through our 95 degree heat wave, and tomorrow it's supposed to be like 71 and raining. So I think Portland got transported to, that's Seattle. 71 and raining is Seattle.
No, 71 and rainy is Portland too. We're just down the coast, so we're it's about the same thing.
Awesome. Well, today we're talking about DIY online video, and Brighton's put some great training together. And in this Experts Focus segment, we're going to be digging more into DIY video and what you can, do yourself with video and make it great. Brighton, why don't you give us a 30 to 60 second, real quick, brief overview of what we're going to be talking about, and then I'll give the folks the 3 points and we'll dig right in.
Great. Yeah, I think essentially, I think that first off, video is pretty accessible now. Everyone has a webcam. Almost everyone has an iPhone or some kind of smartphone that has an amazing video camera just built in your pocket all the time. The technology has gotten to the point where it's very accessible, and it's not that hard to do. You have to have some confidence, and you need to know some technical skills. But then the other part of it is really knowing what to talk about, is the content, and that's something I think a lot of people miss. Is they'll learn how to physically make a video, but then they'll drone on about something that nobody cares about. Or they'll use a format where they drone on about themselves for 30 seconds and then they get to the meat. And this is the world of YouTube and Facebook. If you don't capture people within the first 6 seconds, they're going away. So that's kind of the gist of kind of what we're about to talk about, I think.
Excellent, excellent. So the 3 keys to success in this piece of the episode are the confidence to record video, the technical skill to record video, and then number 3 is understanding how to create confidence. So let's dive right in. When you say confidence to record a video, what do you mean, and what are we talking about here?
Well, I mean it's something that people really struggle with. That's why I kind of mentioned it earlier. And I mean, to tell you the truth, I was behind the camera for the first 17 years of that hero's journey that we just talked about in the last segment. Because I didn't want to be in front of the camera. And I was always the person behind the camera. And really, the quick story is I had this video series. It was a parody of Portlandia, and Fred Armisen is the real, the big person in Portlandia. I found a lookalike actor, and that actor started getting so much local press because he was the Vancouveria guy. And all he was an actor that I found, at a table read, and I was writing and directing and filming and doing all the work, but the person who was on camera was getting all the attention. So I realized that I needed to get the confidence to be on camera. And really the only way that happens is to point the camera at yourself and start. And it's really great, because if you start a YouTube channel, people don't watch your first video necessarily. You have to build a channel over time. So just getting out there, starting, and you definitely get better. You get used to it, and your confidence builds.
Yeah, I'm laughing because my story is so similar. I mean, the funny part is that I was on stage all throughout high school and well into adulthood. I was a DJ. I was an entertainer. But when I got into coaching a few years ago and public speaking, and my goal would be on the biggest stages, the whole 9 yards, I was scared to death to do a video. I mean, I've done videos before. I've been, and I was like, it took me, I think, 2 years to create my first video because I was scared to death. Now, some people are gonna look at this episode and go, wait a minute, guy who's been in the business for 19 years was scared. A guy who's been on and off the stage for 40 years was scared. What we're trying to tell you is it's natural, whether you've been doing it a day, a week, a month, a year. The fear of being in, and I'm going to get serious for a second, the fear of being in front of the camera is natural. What's happening is your brain is saying, oh, sugar, this is going to be around there forever. What if I say something wrong? What if people don't like me? What if? So So Brighton, to lighten this back up again, when people look at you and say, "Hey Brighton, I don't want this to be there forever. It's going to be around for so long. What if people don't like me?" What do you say to somebody to help them build their confidence and understand that it's going to be okay?
I guess, if people don't like you, it's kind of like a so what. And the reality is, if people don't like you, they're not going to watch your video. The really annoying videos aren't the ones that go viral. It's the videos that people really like, and YouTube has figured out, and Facebook especially, like the things that people see more of are the things that people like. So there's kind of this built-in system which propels the better stuff to the top. So if you don't have that perfect video, I've got lots of videos that are really kind of, unimpressive. But people don't see those videos very often because they weren't answering the right question, they weren't popular, people weren't watching them, people weren't giving them the thumbs up, they weren't commenting. And so YouTube is kind of, their algorithm has said, that's not a popular video, don't serve that up. If someone's asking, how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and I have a video, but people watch for 3 seconds and then go away, and they always thumbs down that video, or they're not making comments, and someone else, say Chris has a video that he says in the beginning, I'm going to show you how to make the best PB&J sandwich, and people love it, and they thumbs up, and they comment, and they share it with their friends, and they share it on Facebook. If you just type into YouTube, you type into the search bar, how to make a PB&J sandwich, they're going to show you Chris's video because they already know, based on everyone else's experience with his video, that it's good. So I'd say just go out there, start producing. Yeah, you can always delete it. It's not like someone's going to go and screen capture your video or something. It's kind of like, people think that someone's going to steal their idea. They're not. You're the one who has the passion. Just put it out there. It's really fun to go back and watch your original first video. I don't know if you know Marie Forleo. I'm definitely a B-School fan. It was really cool. She has the best production of this kind of tip video. And you go back and you can find her first video where she's sitting in sweats on her couch with her laptop, or actually her iPad, or no, it was a laptop at the time, in her lap, just kind of answering questions. And it's great to see that and to see her journey and be like, oh yeah, she, everybody starts out at the bottom. So it's kind of fun when people leave their original videos.
Yeah, exactly. And if you do search for, I make a world famous PB&J. So no, not really, folks. So don't go looking for Chris's PB&J. Although it might not be a bad idea. It might be too much competition for that search term. But
definitely got to watch out for that competition for search terms.
But I think you bring up a great point, though, Brighton, is the fact that yes, you can always delete it. Yes, stuff is around the internet forever, but the unpopular stuff becomes very difficult to find. And here's the thing that it took me a long time to realize, and I think it takes a lot of people a long time to realize. Even if people don't like your video and start bashing you about it, guess what? You're still getting publicity. That's the oddest part, is the fact that if people really don't like it, it'll actually increase the visibility. And the beautiful part is that the people who you are meant to resonate with, it will resonate with, and then they will be your supporters.
And they'll come out, I think, and defend you kind of in the comment section. I had some website posted one of my videos, and essentially it's like a thumbs down website, and I was like, what's going on? So I posted to Facebook like, hey, save my video, and that's where everyone came out and started giving thumbs up, and the views went up, and I was like, this is great. It's kind of a competition here. And it was a video that might not have been watched if it hadn't had that negative publicity.
Exactly. Well, and I think that's before we move into the technical skill, I think that's a great place to wrap up confidence, because in the end, remember, perception is reality. And fear is usually something that's usually, not always, but usually something that we just create as a construct of our minds. So we're afraid that our video isn't going to be liked. We're afraid people are going to say this about us. Afraid people are going to say that about us. Coming from somebody who's bullied all growing up and through a large portion of his life, I can tell you that it hurts for a while, but you figure out coping mechanisms, a way to get over it. And if you have a message to take to the world, the best thing you can do is start getting it out there and build your confidence as people watch your videos, give your thumbs up, and you do it in a safe environment. Right. You put it out on your Facebook page, your YouTube page, places where your friends are hanging out, to get that positive reinforcement first, and that helps build your confidence. Right.
Definitely, and I think so. I think that the most important thing is to just start. Boy, I wish I had started this like when YouTube was first there. I wish I would have started like seriously trying to turn it into a business instead of having it be a hobby and a creative outlet. Because now I'm turning it into a business and going, wow, this is a really good opportunity to become a really big business. What if I had started, 15 years earlier? So definitely start.
Exactly. So here's the show host makes guest feel really bad about himself segment, which doesn't normally happen, but will this time. I'm just kind of being a little facetious. Brighton and I have talked a lot, but it's just like the episode I just recorded for your show where we talked about Philip DeFranco. I mean, it's kind of like, for anybody who questions, for anybody who's been around doing video a long time, can look back if they start at the beginning like yourself and say, okay, here's a kid who started at the same time and just kept going and did it. And I don't bring it up to put you down. I bring it up to reinforce the fact of anybody watching. Forget about the fact that success Brighton has had, which he's had a lot of success at this point. Forget about the success anybody else has had. Focus on you starting off today. Just like Brighton said, start today and worry about building your future. There's nothing you can do about the fact that YouTube's been around 10 years and that you haven't started yet. But what you can do is you can control what happens 10 years from now by starting today.
Yeah, very good. Love it.
Excellent. So Brighton, now let's move into technical skill to record video. Because after confidence, once people get the confidence they can, I'm quite sure that a lot of people are scared of having the technical skill to be able to record video. So tell us a little bit more about that and what you want to impart on the knowledge you want to impart on our users. I can think today.
Yeah, and I think technical skill, like I said, everyone's got an iPhone in their pocket and whatnot. It's got a video camera built in. I wish I had the little thing here. There's a tiny little gadget you can buy for $15 that'll hook that up to a tripod. And everyone has a tripod that their parents or father gave them, like sitting in the basement. And that, hold it steady, push record. We're using a webcam now. We were talking earlier that I think we're both using Logitech C930 webcams, which are great. I've shot a lot of videos just on the webcam that's on my Mac. And I've gone all the way up to using a DSLR, which creates a very beautiful video. But I guess the point I'd like to make is you can kind of start with anything from a technology standpoint. You can record this directly. You can record directly to YouTube. You can go to YouTube, create an account, and say capture, and record using your webcam, and everything's there. And then from a technical aspect of editing, a lot of people don't edit their first videos. That's fine. But YouTube has a built-in editor too. And so that's an option. You can go in there and go from the simple edit, which is just kind of clipping off the beginning and clipping off the end. That's just trimming those so you don't have that kind of where you're walking around from the back of the camera, you just push record and you walked over and you sat down, to all the way to adding music. YouTube has music that is that you can use. They have special effects and whatnot. So it's really something, just like building confidence, you can really build your technical skill too. And it doesn't take a lot of technical skill. I say what it would take is a video camera, which, the phone is perfect, some decent lighting, which actually, I like to shoot in the front room of my house because there's a big window there, so I set the camera in front of the window and I sit back and the window just kind of shines on my face, creates a great look of natural light, and some decent audio. Right now I'm just recording into the C930. Usually if I use the iPhone, I just have a $20 lavalier mic, which you plug into the bottom and just clip it onto your shirt, especially if you're going out in public. There's a lot of other noise around. So the camera, good audio, and decent lighting, and that's really all it takes to record.
Exactly. Great thing to point out. And if you hear the jingling in the background, you hear how great this microphone is. It's just my cat, one of my cats in my office deciding to have some fun. And you know what, Brighton, we should probably get them up here because people love cat videos and they share cat videos all the time. So you put cats on the videos. But to kind of summarize, I think what you're saying is so great and so poignant, because what we're doing now with the branding around it and the multiple shots and the angled in and all the stuff that people are going to see, that's the next level. You don't need that to get started. And to get started, like Brighton said, your cell phone. You get everybody. If you've got a smartphone, you've got a video camera on your cell phone, and you can learn very simple tips and techniques to be able to use it. If you get yourself an inexpensive webcam, the C920 or C930, depending on if you're a Mac or a PC user, they're just two different versions. You get that high quality audio, high quality video, and you can start recording in no time. Even if it's just as simple as creating some videos. Hey, how you doing? My name is such and such. You know, my name isn't Shady, but sorry, it's the actor musician in me. I say certain things. Now I'm singing Eminem. Great, you know, great SEO for that one. Now I'm singing Eminem. My name is Shady, and you know, we'll teach you all about SEO later, and like, you know, the advanced video. But one thing I wanted to ask, speaking of videos, one thing I wanted to ask you is, when it comes to technical skill, whether it's the videos you have on your website as of the day we're recording this, or some of the stuff I know you and I have talked about that you're looking at doing in the future, are you going to be, do you now, or are you going to be digging in deeper to give people, some non-technical people, the way to easily get up to speed on cell phone video cameras and other things?
Yes, definitely. I've got a couple of resources. First off, if you go to my website, authenticwestfilms.com, you'll see, you know, probably at this time, you know, 50, 60, 70 videos of just, you know, 3 to 5 minute how to do one very specific thing, how to, you know, add a lower third onto your iPhone video or something like that. I also have a class on Udemy, which is a simple, what I say is, it's, you know, kind of YouTube for dummies. It's meant for people who are, you know, older, who are definitely not just like, you know, pick up tech and just can run with it. Just explains how to make a YouTube channel in very slow steps, how to record it, how to edit it in YouTube, and how to have your first video up on YouTube in an afternoon. So I've got classes, and I also have, you know, we've got there's going to be a great giveaway at the end, so make sure you wait till the end to find out how to get that, but that is going to tie in directly to what we're talking about right now.
Awesome. So that's a great segue. We've talked a little bit now about the technical skills, so now we're going to, you know, you've gotten over the confidence factor. You understand that, you know, people be like, that's from, I think, SourceFed. Well, I'm gonna tell you, we got all the SEO going. If I type the show notes out, we'll have everybody following this video.
Yeah, exactly.
But so you understand that people are going to be the way they are, but the most important thing is to get started. Now you understand that it doesn't take a lot of technical skill, that, you know, you can learn some very simple things and get started today. So now let's go into the understanding how to create content. I know I've got a system for creating content. You've got a method and a system. Let's talk about it. You know, tell people how to create content. Let's dig in here.
Yeah, and you know, like I think you mentioned that we did just hit a video on my show with you, where we realized we have the exact same content formula. And actually, I have a video that you can go onto YouTube. It's the YouTube Magic Formula. And once you watch it and you start watching other successful people's videos, you'll be like, oh my God, he's doing the exact same thing. And it pretty much starts out with hooking people in the first 6 seconds, telling them that, you know, what it is you're going to tell them. Like, I'm going to show you how to make the best peanut butter and jelly sandwich ever. And you've got that right in the beginning, so that if they're looking for making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, they're going to continue watching, or they're going to click away. But if they are your target audience, they're going to stay with you. Then a little bit of branding that's, you know, 5 seconds long, just kind of a splash screen of your logo. Then you get into the meat of it, just like we're in the meat of this right now, in this interview, and you wrap it up with a call to action, which this is a very simple formula that's really easy to pick up. Don't worry, on your first videos, you don't have to be trying to make sure you're hitting all those points. Just start off with an introductory, I'm Brighton West video, and, you know, this is my first video. But as you move along, start to look at what content your target audience is looking for and provide those answers. and use that formula there to hook them and keep them all the way through the end. And actually, another technique that I love to keep people watching through the end is the open loop. And I noticed Chris did one earlier. I just did one when I mentioned that there's going to be a free giveaway at the end. This is another very common thing. You'll find them in webinars. If you watch the TV news, they always open a loop or tell you what you're going to essentially miss if you don't come back after the commercial. So there's a number of different techniques that I'm sure Chris goes over, I go over, that really is about content creation. But I guess to wrap that up, it is about quality content. Making a video commercial where you just talk about how awesome you are, people aren't really interested in that. That's not what they're looking for on the internet. They're looking for solutions. YouTube is the #2 search engine in the world. Google owns it. It's the #1 search engine for answering the question, how to. So people, you know, how to fix my kitchen sink, they'll watch a YouTube video, get halfway through the project, and then realize that they need to hire the plumber from the YouTube video to finish it up. So it's the same thing that we're looking at for coaches or other professions. You provide a lot of free content. Some of them are going to want to go a little further, and you're the obvious choice to help them go further.
Yeah, exactly. And something you said there, I'm going to kind of work backwards and say something you said there was so poignant. You know, folks, there's 3 types of people out there, and if you watch other episodes, you heard me talk about this before. 3 types of people. Type _1, you're going to give them everything you've got. They're going to take it, they're going to use it, and they're never going to hire you. Type #2, you're going to give them everything you got. They're not going to understand a word you say, and they're never going to hire you. Then there's type #3. And type #3 is you're going to give them everything you got, and they're going to realize they can't do it without you, and they're going to hire you to help them along. The good news for you is that type #3 is 80-ish% of the population, 75 to 85, depending on the survey and the research you look at. The other pieces are very small, and they would never have worked with you anyway. So, you know, when you think about, you know, most people don't like to give away their content because they're afraid that if they give everything away, people aren't going to work with them. Well, I'm here to tell you those people aren't going to work with you anyway. And that's just the way it is, you know, plain and simple. The other, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, we're in such a wonderful time now of content marketing where you can just get so much stuff for free and figure out who it is that presents that best to be able to, you know, buy that deeper look through that specific person. But it's an amazing time to be on the internet and just to be able to get anything.
And that is really the key is with your content. And I've got a question for you specifically about the meat of the content. But this is amazing. You're so right, Brighton. It's an amazing time to be on the internet. And really, with all the information out there, one of your jobs as a content creator and as a coach is to cut through the noise, show people that they can trust you when they have a question about your area of expertise, so that they're willing to pay you eventually, whether it's for a membership, whether it's for a piece of your content, whether it's for a Udemy course, whether it's to have you come in and speak, but they're willing to pay you because you cut through the noise and you cut through the clutter. I mean, it's the reason why, you know, people pay for Netflix and Hulu and other streaming methods, because it reduces the amount of clutter. They can choose the TV station, they choose that station, so it's already cut through the clutter. There's only certain things on there, and they go and they trust that they're going to get something good out of it. Right, Brighton?
Definitely. Yes.
Excellent. So I got a quick question for you about content and the meat of the content. Because I love your system, and it's funny because for those of you who are really paying attention, you'll notice that Expert Showcase runs on the same system that Brighton was talking about. You know, we have our opening, the credits, and the whole 9 yards, and the call to action. And at the end, you'll see, at the end, for those of you, this is your first episode, you stick around, you'll see the closing credits with an additional call to action about how you can be a guest on the show. So there's this whole structure out there. But from a content perspective and helping someone develop the content, the meat, do you focus on that at all, or do you focus more at the video level?
I do focus somewhat. Actually, the course that I'm just completing now, it starts with you know, kind of the exact way we've been talking today: the confidence to be on video, the technical skill to be on video, and then the content, because I kind of feel like we got to get all that stuff out of the way, because people are like, oh, I just got a new iPhone and I just want to start shooting video, and it's like, okay, let's teach you how to do that, and then let's dig into the content. And really, it is simply problem solving. Finding the problems that are out there and being able to present the solution in a way that your audience can absorb it. So, I mean, that's just kind of, I guess, content marketing 101. That's what blogs are about. You're not gonna, or at least I don't just go kind of read random blogs just because I read the blogs that are something that I searched for and I'm, kind of at least a little bit interested in learning more about. So finding the things where someone wants to know more, some problem that they're having, they're looking for a solution, and then building out the content that answers that. Because we all have knowledge inside us. I don't care who you are. Like you mentioned, if you're the architect or the janitor, the janitor, if the architect is at home trying to get, gum off his hardwood floor, he's going to go to YouTube and look up the video that the janitor made about, how to do that. So everyone's got skills, and those skills, it's just so easy, and that's where people look for it, is YouTube. They want to go get those skills, and anyone can provide information about whatever it is that they know a lot about.
Excellent. Well, I'm really looking forward to talking to you more offline and also following the progression of the new course and everything, because what you're saying about the content creation is really in alignment with a content creation system that I co-created a while back called the 1-4-3 system. Taking a core problem, breaking it down into 4 milestones and 3 keys to success within each milestone, and it takes a real formulaic view of creating the answer. But the reason it takes that formulaic view is so that you can give people and people's brains something to hold on to. So I'll really be interested to see, even as because I know that as we're taping this, I know you're still in the process of creating it. So, and this is where, we're just kind of talking now right before we wrap up the understanding how to create content. But, as you create the content creation piece, maybe we can even talk about and see if maybe the system that, this kind of real structured system I co-created fits in anyway, and maybe there's a possibility, or maybe you're going to create something better, and I can just throw my old one away. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the rest of as the creation of that system and as your course goes along. I'm really looking forward to seeing it. So before I kind of wrap this up for this segment, anything else you wanted to say about confidence, technical skill, or understanding how to create content before I get into the call to action?
It's just one simple thing. Don't throw away what you already created, because there are some people that are going to really resonate with you and what you are creating, and there's some people that are going to really resonate with me, and some that will resonate with Daryl Eves or Real SEO. There are a number of people that can help you with video, but everyone comes at it from a different level or a different angle. And I mean, that's the beauty. Even if the how to make a peanut butter jelly sandwich is answered, it's not answered the way you would answer it. So go ahead and make that content and do it your way, and some people are going to be like, that's the person I want to learn from.
Exactly. Couldn't have said it better myself. So today on Expert Showcase, and specifically the Experts Focus section, we've been talking all about how to get started on doing online video yourself. We talked about building confidence and just basically get over it and get started. We talked about the technical skill and understanding that it doesn't take a high level of technical skill, just take some basic technical skills to get started. And we talked about the content and the fact that understanding there's a formula to creating the content, and really understanding that from a confidence, technical skill, and content, Brighton's got the answers for you, not only currently on his website, but also in an upcoming course he's putting together. And I also believe, you have some Udemy courses out there right now, right? Currently,
yes,
right?
Yeah,
awesome.
I have a kind of a YouTube 101 on Udemy. You can find that on my website. There's actually a discount code up there if you want to take that course.
That's what I was going to say. That's what I thought. I'm reading my show prep notes, and I just want to make absolutely sure, because I made a really big mistake and told on another video, made a comment that the person would get something for free, and they're like, no, I'm actually charging. I went, oh, I'm sorry. So I had to make absolutely sure I was saying the right thing. So here's your call to action. See, we're making this, it's funny, because for those of you who watched it, we're making some of these very overt this time, so you can actually see an example of some of the stuff that we talk about teaching people.
Yes.
So here's your call to action. Here's what you need to do. You need to go over to AuthenticWestFilms.com, and there's a special link. It's on the screen, AuthenticWestFilms.com/expert showcase. On Authentic West Films, Brighton's got a free download about DIY video that's going to cover the do's and don'ts of filming yourself, that you can get through the special link that's on the screen, AuthenticWestFilms.com/expert showcase. And wait for it, here's the special offer that only if you're stuck around, and you should have stuck around, and if you're watching, you did. You get a special discount code on his Udemy courses, which is an awesome deal, the DIY YouTube 101, and it's a great place to get started. So if you're a coach, or if you're just somebody watching, and I shouldn't say just, I don't mean to demean you, if you're anybody watching this video, every time I say just, I think of Tony Robbins and his Just a Mom comment on stage. So as a coach, and as somebody who's watched this video and listened to me babble a long time, you realize you need video. I know you do. Brighton knows you do. I can't see him right now because I'm looking straight at the camera. He's smiling and shaking his head, I'm quite sure. You know you need video. Head over to AuthenticWestFilms.com/expert showcase. Grab the free video. Grab the discount code. You'll be happy you did. And one quick last piece of that call to action. It looks like you're doing especially your upcoming video Udemy course is going to be designed for professional coaches. Am I reading that correctly, Brighton?
Yes, you are. The next course will be specifically for coaches to really dig into that content creation method that's specific to coaches.
Awesome. And depending on how long it takes me to get this video out, because everything hangs on me, I'm always the bottleneck, it might even be done by the time that I get this video out. So you definitely...
And if it is done, that when you go to Expert Showcase, Authentic West Films, /Expert Showcase, there'll be a code to get that at a discount too.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Brighton. It's awesome for you to give. It's epic. Epic is, I've just started saying epic because it's great. I got to think of another word, but thank you very much. Folks, head over to AuthenticWestFilms.com/expert showcase. Get the free course, get the discount codes. You'll be happy you did. And now we're going to take a real quick break, and when we come back, normally the third segment is visibility, credibility, and authority, and getting known and getting found. But Brett and I are two video guys, so I'm quite sure what's going to happen is you're going to hear us yap about video for a while. But you're going to want to join us because we're probably going to say some stuff you won't hear anyplace else on the net unless you get it from our videos. And I'm going to guess you're going to get some behind-the-scenes stuff because Brett and I are having a great conversation. And these are really the conversations you want to dial into when you get a chance to kind of watch a little bit of behind-the-scenes back and forth between two people in the industry that you should care about, because building video is going to build your business. So stick around while we take a quick break, go grab a drink of water, and we'll be right back. Oh, and head over to AuthenticWestFilms.com/expert showcase. And we're back on Expert Showcase. We've been having a blast today recording with our epic guest, Brighton West. He's been talking all about DIY online video and YouTube and 101, Udemy courses, and all the other fun stuff. If you want a free discount, if you want a free download and a discount code, what you got to do is you got to watch the first and second segment. It's in there. I promise you, it's in there. You got to go back and watch that. If you got a little rewind button, go to rewind it and grab the link and everything, and we'll wait. Actually, we won't wait. We're going to keep going. You can just fast forward back to where we're at. So, Brighton, first of all, I mean, it's been great, man. I mean, this is, like I said, normally I'm a little more structured in this third, and I normally say, what do you use to build visibility, credibility, and authority? Because we're, a lot of times we're talking to coaches. I just figured we'll talk about that a little bit, but let's talk a little bit about video and maybe a little bit about the power of video, how it really does help people build visibility, credibility, and authority in their niche. Your previous experiences with helping clients do that. Let's just talk for a little bit and see where it goes. Sound like a plan?
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
Awesome. So one of the things I love, and a lot of people, after this video airs, I have a feeling people are going to ask this question. They're going to say, Chris, you do video. It's kind of your gig, man. Why did you bring another video guy on that could be a competitor? And it's like, well, Brighton and I talked, and we're actually a co-competitor, not a competitor, meaning we have very similar businesses that are going after similar niches, but really approaching it from a different perspective. You know, Brighton, you're looking for DIY people who really want to learn how to do it themselves. I'm looking for the other set of coaches, and when I say other, just meaning, you know, the set that wants a more done with you service, wants to be responsible for just the content, and wants somebody to help with the video. So to get that, I figured we get that question out of the way because I'm sure people are wondering that at this point. But talk about the DIY stuff and kind of your experiences so far and how you've seen it help people build visibility from merely just going and creating video and start getting it up there.
Yeah, I think you know, some of the stuff that I help people with, there's a whole section of like YouTube SEO. We mentioned SEO a little earlier, but really, you could create a video. You could have a professional create a video for you and put it up on YouTube, and it just might fall flat. But there is that formula which we talked about in the last segment, and then there's also the how to put the metadata together for your video. So what is the name of your video, or what's the title of your video? What's in the description? Specifically, what's in the first line of the description? What's in the second line? What's in the third line? What's in the last line? How do you make a link? I actually have on my website, I think you can get to it, I've got a deal. I do this on Fiverr, where if you've got a YouTube channel, I will look and I'll tell you the 3 things that you could do better on your YouTube channel, the 3 top things for just $5, exclusively on Fiverr. But I think there's so many things that you can do, you know, not only just learning how to make video, but there's a lot of people out there who are making video who are also making mistakes. And they're just, you know, as long as you're doing it, you might as well do it the most effective way to try to get the most out of it.
Yeah, definitely. Now, a quick question for you. I know in the old days, and some of the stuff, I'm going to preface this by saying some of the stuff that we're going to talk about, depending on who you've heard it from, you might consider black hat, gray hat, white hat. I'm a firm believer that you should be as white hat when you do these SEO things as humanly possible, because if you don't, Google's eventually going to spank you for it, and YouTube's eventually going to shut you down for it. But I do preface it by saying, you know, I've gotten some of this stuff from in the end people who I thought were kind of, you know, white hat and might have been a little bit sketchy. So I have no clue where this conversation is going to go. So I'm going to ask you a couple questions. So there's an old, I'll call it a trick, and that's the other reason I set this up, to say I'm going to use the word trick a lot, and I don't mean trick to mean black hat. I just mean that people have found an effective way of doing things that YouTube seems to be okay with. And I don't feel like saying that every time, so I'll say trick. So there used to be an old trick in videos where what you did was you took a specific line of text, like your phone number, a link, and your keywords, tweaked them a little bit, but pretty much duplicated that about 6 times throughout your video, not only to give people visual clues where sections were starting and stopping, but to increase your SEO value. What's your thought on that? Have you used it, and do you think that's black hat? Do you still find it successful? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, one of the things I think is, you know, YouTube, from a visual standpoint, that YouTube doesn't necessarily see what's going on in your video. I think there are very specific ways, like I talked about. You start your video with a question, you know, how I'm going to make a PB&J sandwich. You start your description with the same question. You put that in your tags. So these, I think, I would call them very white hat ways to do things, just to make sure that the right terms are in the right places. You don't put, you know, PBJ, 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 PBJ in the description, because I think, you know, they're going to notice that you've done something really weird. But you can also close caption your video, so that, you know, every time, I mean, if you close caption this, we're going to rank really high for peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, because we've talked about it so much. And if you close caption it, YouTube actually is able to tell if your closed captions are real. They're able to match that up, and then they're able to say, oh wow, yeah, they did talk a lot about peanut butter or jelly. You know, it's not just something that they faked. The whole video was talking about that. And then they also pair that up with, did people watch the video? So no matter how great your SEO in terms of how many things you said in there is, if everyone is clicking away because you've got, maybe you had a thumbnail with a really pretty girl, and then when they click and start watching, they realize it's Chris and I, they're going to click away. So you don't want to trick people into watching your video, because YouTube will penalize you for that. They'll say, hey, your watch time is awful. That's not what we want. Another one, this is something, Daryl Eves is amazing in terms of what he's taught me about YouTube. I consider him a top mentor. There's also your channel watch time. So if you bring someone into YouTube to watch a video, and then you can convince them to watch cat videos for the next 6 hours, YouTube will reward your channel with more traffic, because what YouTube wants is they want people to stay on the YouTube platform. Okay. And they're building a number of things. They're building out something where you'll be able to run your credit card right from YouTube if you want to buy something. So they want to keep you in YouTube because they sell ads. That's how they make money. They share that with the creators. So it's really it's all about keeping people there, and creating that content that's sticking around.
Right. Excellent. Yeah. And I guess one of the things I was getting at with the description, and I should have made it clear what I was really talking about, making sure I made it clear, was in the description. There was an old trick, and I admit it. I white-hattily used it to get people's videos ranked really high. Basically, you make sure that enough of what the video is really about is said the right way, strewn throughout the description, and take it away from. I mean, it's funny, Brighton, but I'll tell you, I'll never forget it's about 4 years ago, an SEO guy came up to me and he goes, "Yeah," he goes, "I'm ranked I got the top 10 spots for plumbers in Indiana." And I looked at him and I went, "Dude, you're an SEO guy in Philadelphia." He's like, "Yeah, I know. It's my own website, so I'm not." I'm like, "Dude, that's just wrong, man. It might work, but it's wrong. I mean, it's not ethical. I mean, it just doesn't. It just, in the end, let's face it, karma's a bitch, right?"
Yeah. Hopefully, people were calling his phone and saying, "Can you fix my plumbing?"
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it is kind of. I mean, you don't want to game the system, but a little bit you do want to game the system. So if your video's about something, one of the mistakes I see a lot of people do is just leave a one-line description to say, "In this video, you'll learn how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich." But if you actually went through and said, wrote out the description, like a lot of people like to read instead of watch video, so they could read that, but also YouTube can see step 1 is to take your peanut butter and get it on your onto your knife, and I like to use Jif peanut butter or something like that. That's still adding value, and also making you rank for those keywords. And
that's the key. And what to summarize all the stuff I've been babbling about. Brighton's been very eloquent. I'm babbling. The key,
I've been mentioning peanut butter a lot.
Yeah, exactly. So if I would transcribe this video, we would rank #1 for peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah.
So and Brighton, you're gonna have to. I'm quite sure you're now gonna go make one, because or people. So in the comments below, if you now make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich because of what we're talking about, leave it in the comments below. Let us know how your peanut butter and jelly sandwich tasted. But the key here is that when you're true and authentic, and you solve a problem and you give people value, that's the most important thing. Let's face it, if a video you do gives people value, and you write a description in a way that might, and this is why I say I call it almost a gray hat area, because if you use something that 98% of people who do black hat use, but is it really illegal as far as YouTube, and you're giving people great content, I'm not totally against that, because if you're giving them great content, and you're giving them the content that you're using the skills to rank high in, if it matches, then you're really getting your message out. But if you're, it's like kind of like, we're joking around about the peanut butter and jelly, if we would use that to get this video ranked high, that would be black hat, and that would be awful, because we're not teaching people how to do that. We're not teaching people the right kind of peanut butter, and the right, what's the best peanut butter, and what's the best peanut butter to jelly ratio of the, and what's the best bread. But the whole point is that if you have a good message and you end up, you need to, I mean, it's what SEO is all about, right? Is writing things in a way that not only humans but the machines can read them. Skynet is coming, but that's besides the point. That's my conspiracy theorist part of the show. We never hit the dating part where I say I'm single. So as of this recording, I'm still single. So women, get in contact with me. Anyway, what other parts can we hit? But no, in all seriousness, back to the important thing. If you had one tip, because it really does go into visibility, if you had one tip, one key to give people about SEO and a description, just one, the big one, what would it be?
I guess I would say in your title, do the words that you think are the exact search words that someone's searching for, and you can search and see how people are writing, or look through comments and see how people are writing. So how do I make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich would be pretty good. Not peanut butter is wonderful when combined with jelly on bread makes a sandwich. It just isn't going to rank as well. So try to get the exact words, and then in the description, start out with the exact or very similar words. And then also put it in your tag. So you're really trying to hone in on one kind of long tail keyword and providing it in multiple spaces right at the beginning of each of those descriptions. So it's best to say, how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich by Brighton West instead of Brighton West makes a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And unless if you're PewDiePie and you're making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, you might want to start with PewDiePie because so many people are searching for that. But if you're kind of a normal, regular person, start with what you're talking about, not with who you are.
Excellent. And I'm sure more tips like that can be found in your DIY YouTube 101, he says semi-sarcastically, video that you can actually get by going to a website that I guess I'll throw back up, even though I normally don't do this, by going to AuthenticWestFilms.com/expert showcase. I'm sure you can get more information by going there.
Yep.
So interesting. So that really boils down to visibility. And, let's go back to, let's talk a little bit about credibility. The interesting part is that, when you think of credibility and video, some people think of, well, if I do a video, I get instant credibility. Like in the old days, if you did something that not many other people could do, it was instant credibility. It's kind of like when we talk about authority. If you've written a book, you're an instant authority because you've written the book. Is it still the case, in your opinion, is it still the case nowadays that just because you create a video, you have instant credibility? Or do you need to build credibility through doing multiple videos and making sure they solve real-world problems and that sort of thing?
I think it's kind of a combination of both, which is why I'm working on that DIY side of this, because everybody's got a blog. Maybe not everybody, but many people have blogs. Many businesses have blogs. A smaller subset has a podcast, and an even smaller subset has a video presence. So it is still pretty unique. It's not quite the author level because kind of anyone can do it. But you do have to produce good content then, because there's lots of bad content on. I didn't just lose you, did I?
Nope, I'm here.
Okay, just making sure. There's lots of bad content out there on the internet, so you want to be making video, you want to be making it technically correctly, and you want to be providing good content. And then it's easy. Easy to get credibility. And I think I mentioned in the last segment, everybody has something that they can provide value about. Just stick to that thing you know best, and maybe if you don't know it best, I've done a number of these videos where I find someone who's blogging about some solution, and I notice that it's not on YouTube. Some of my more successful videos are just taking, like, I had a problem, I searched for it, I found it on a blog, and then I just did a screencast of recording the steps that you actually would go through. And people love it because they're like, wow, I've had this problem for so long. They wanted a video answer, not a blog answer.
Yeah.
So I became the authority on that because I learned how to be the authority on it right before I made that video.
Yeah, excellent point. I think that, it's funny that what I was going to say is that what I find interesting is that because blogging and because websites have become so I'll say ubiquitous or so easy to put up now, that like you said, I'm going to probably repeat something you just said. In the old days, I feel so old when I say that. But in the old days, it was something to have a blog. Like I remember, you know, I was hard coding websites back in the middle 90s. And if you had a website and you had a blog, it was something, you know, you were figuratively speaking a step down from a journalist because you weren't in a newspaper because, you know, it was, you know, you didn't, you know, but you at least took the step to create. And now that websites are so ubiquitous and everybody seems to be blogging, or everybody, I mean, I tell you, Brighton, I even, you know, it's funny because I look at the Pulse newsreader every day, and one of the channels I follow is Inc. Magazine. And I'm getting a little sad because they're even publishing pretty much 100-word articles at this point, where it's a great title. You go in, there's literally 3 sentences, 3 bullet points, and that's it. And it's like, wow, we're really getting to an age where blogging and writing has become just universal. So now it gets to the now it gets to the web, where yes, it's still easy to create a YouTube channel and anyone can do it, but the fear holds most people back, and there are less people doing it than there are blogging. So, so I love what you said. It builds credibility by being there and by doing it, but then you lose your credibility right away if you don't do something that's going to help people, right?
Right, exactly, and it is one of those things that it builds on itself. So it's kind of you know, an exponential curve or something. Is, you know, you could create the best video of your first video, but it's going to take a while for you to build up a you know, kind of a bunch of videos that people can see. And then, you know, I was talking to someone this morning who's like, yeah, I watched all your videos just in one night, and I was like, that feels really cool. But it's, you know, it's because I have so many videos that he was able to sit there and you know, kind of binge watch my videos.
Isn't that awesome? I mean, it's funny because for people just starting out, going, yeah, you can watch all my videos in one night because I got 3 of them. But when you have a couple, when you have 100 plus, like you do, you know, it's like, that's great. You binge watch me. I'm now in the, you know, it's like I'm now in the class of Orange Is the New Black and Game of Thrones and True Detective. And if I transcribe this, we'll get great SEO. And did I say that out loud? For those,
we might get a good SEO on transcribe SEO.
We probably will. And for people who've watched this before, I mean, you know, I subtly love to joke around, but I always love when I'm on other people's podcasts. You know, it's just figure out whose name can you legitimately, and let's face it, whose name can you legitimately throw in that really means something in the conversation that will help the show host out, and which is just another way of getting good. SEO, because let's face it, as an example, you know, for video creation, I mean, we've talked about Philip DeFranco. There's no way we're going to get the video, even if we put his name in here, ranked for it. But and this is, I'm going to throw out a piece of advice to people creating videos, and I'm sure you cover this in one of your courses. But if you do it right, and if you do it in true and authentic style, and reference the good somebody does, or reference that you like their style, or reference something they're doing that goes along with you, and then put their name, their Twitter handle, their Facebook page, put something about them in the video, while you aren't going to rank higher for that video, there is a chance that person might actually see the video, might actually recognize the video, and might actually give you some props or reach out to you, or in other ways. Now, don't do it because of that, but there's a great story from here in the local Philly area. That whole song, I think it was Bruno Mars, the Uptown Funk, I think it was called. Not even using it for SEO this time, but the point was, is a local news station decided to do a remix of the video that he did, and then tweeted about it. Couldn't get his attention, so they actually went to the guy who really wrote the song, who has a lot less followers than I think it's Bruno Mars, and got his attention. And it was kind of really weird to see a news company actually doing exactly what YouTubers and people in this space have done successfully for a long time. But once again, depends on what you think about that piece of advice. You know, you could say it's black hat, and it is if you're using it in the wrong way. You know, if you're doing a peanut butter and jelly commercial and throwing in about somebody popular. But if you're using it the right way and really true and authentically talking about the person, you know, shouldn't be a problem, right? I mean, do you have a different opinion on that, Brighton, or what is your opinion on that?
Oh, no, I totally, I've actually got 2 things that I want to say about that. One is the web series I talked about earlier, Vancouveria. I released that right around Christmas because Portlandia was really popular. Season 1, Season 2 was about to release. People were really excited in Portland about this, you know, the Portland TV show coming out. And I released it right before in a slow news week. And I got, you know, I'm probably at close to 200,000 hits. That's pretty amazing because most of them are coming from Portland because the joke doesn't carry outside this region. But I was on the local news. I was, you know, I blew up Reddit locally. All the alternative newspapers and all the real newspapers here wrote about it. But it was like using that idea. It's almost like the same idea, parodying something else. I see a lot of very successful music videos based on this. Is to, you know, take the song Happy or something. Red Hat Express does the song Happy, and they rank pretty well for Happy, and I can't remember the artist, and they just say, you know, it's the Happy by this artist, but it's our rendition of it. And they, you know, have a lot of views on there because they're really good. But they wouldn't have gotten that just by, you know, using their own music. They wouldn't have gotten that kind of flow over because, I mean, that's what YouTube does. If you were to watch the song Happy, the original music video, it'd probably give you a number of similar videos on the side. They're one of those videos on the side, and it's gotten them a lot of exposure because of it. The next thing I want to do is I want to have a shout out right now. And I've been meaning to do this. I was going to do it at the end, but now is the perfect time to do it. And it's a shout out to Mark Mawhinney because he's the one who hooked Chris and I up.
Yeah.
This was something where I think, you know, Mark, you knew Mark for a while, and I just got to know Mark because of Udemy class that he did, and he offered kind of a free phone call, and I was like, I'm going to go for that. So I went, chatted with him, and he's like, oh, you know, Chris, you need to know Chris. And I think we had kind of come across each other a little bit, but Chris was the one, or Mark was the one that really put us, you know, together on the phone and really made this great connection. How we're doing things very similar, but also very different.
Yeah.
So thank you, Mark Mawhinney, Mark Mawhinney, Mark Mawhinney, Mark Mawhinney. Put that in the transcript.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's great to point out Mark, and it's great to point out Mark Mawhinney, and it's great to say how Mark Mawhinney is a great Mark Mawhinney. No, now I'm going overboard, but no, the point is,
it's M-A-R-C.
Yes.
Make sure you get that right.
Yes, exactly. And when you talk to him, ask him about the time he was on Expert Showcase and told the joke about it was Mark with a C and didn't tell the joke right. So, which he realized afterwards. He texted me and says, "Hey, it's okay. We leave it all in. In fact, if you find, you can probably find his episode." But the whole point is, and it's great. You know, Brighton, you're so right. You know, I was a guest on Mark's show. Mark came on Expert Showcase. Then over time, Brighton, I think it was a week or two before, we had just started to kind of find out about each other. But then Mark provided that glue. And the thing of it is that, granted, we're both in the video business, but Mark is doing that for people, you know, for coaches who have podcasts, who have videos, but who are doing something other than the norm, meaning not just blogging. And I don't say just to demean it, but meaning only blogging. So whether it's video, whether it's podcasting, this is where you start to set yourself apart. Mark's doing something very successful with Natural Born Coaches and the Natural Born Coaches podcast or Poaches Codcast. I don't know if that one's really a good thing to say, but that's besides the point. I get my words mixed up or my words mixed up every now and then. But no, he does a Natural Born Coaches podcast, now Natural Born Podcasters. You know, with that along with Subscriber Nation, Expert Showcase, VideoContent.Agency. All these are the fun stuff you've heard about. You got to watch and join and all the fun stuff. Now that I've exploded your brain, the key here is the fact that it's a small world in which you start doing things and you start building credibility, and that was going to be the point. Mark wouldn't have put us together if he hadn't talked to Brighton, and Brighton didn't have visibility and credibility and wasn't at least coming. And I'm not saying, and the reason I hedge on authority is because technically authority is written the book on it. So I don't want to really murky the definition of authority. But realistically, Mark wouldn't have put us together had he not seen the visibility, the credibility, and the authority, you know, pre-book writing that Brent and I both displayed. You know, no matter how nice of a guy Mark is, he's not into wasting people's time. And his time is very valuable. His name is very valuable as he's building his own brand. Face it. You know, Brighton, I'm sure you get people who reach out to you all the time. I get people reach out to me all the time. And I love helping everybody. but there's helping everybody, and there's a limited group where you start to refer, where you put your name on the line, and that only
Yeah,
comes from people who have or who are willing to build visibility, credibility, and go on their way to authority, right?
definitely. Yes.
Yeah, excellent. So, so when we go from credibility into authority, the traditional meaning of authority, and the one we like to use a lot, is you've written the book on it. You're doing a lot of Udemy courses. We've got a lot of videos out there. Have you written a book, or do you have any plans to write any books? Maybe before or after the Udemy courses on this topic, or do you feel that because it's video that maybe that writing a book on the topic of video and DIY video might be overrated?
No, actually, I do plan to write a book. The instructional designer that I'm working with on my Udemy videos, she said she typically takes people who've written a book to make them into instructional design. So we're kind of working backwards to figure out how to make the videos. And then she's like, afterwards, you might as well write a book because you'll have that entire structure of how to explain to people. And truthfully, I listen to more podcasts, which is how I've got to know Mark. I listen to more podcasts than I watch videos. So I feel I probably read more books than I watch videos too. But I love creating videos, and I love sharing my knowledge through video. I'm not a very good writer necessarily, and I've tried to figure out how to podcast. It's not that hard, but quite frankly, YouTube's easier for me. So there are a lot of people that can be really good at producing video, but it might not be the way they learn. I love skimming through blog posts and getting like the top 5 issues. I'm like, oh, just give me the top 5. Whereas in a video, you have to listen the whole way through to get the top 5. So I think there's value in having all the different ways that people can connect with your content.
Yeah, you're so right, and it's funny because that's my biggest struggle with video too, especially because really the description is only so long, so you can only do so much with letting people know. As you see on Expert Showcase, we do lower thirds. The next generation is going to be some more on the fly stuff that'll happen with on the fly lower thirds, and when people make great comments and everything. Which just takes it up another notch. But it's it is difficult with video because you got to sit down, and we've been recording for the whole episode. It's going to probably be an hour and 20, hour and 25, hour and 30 minutes, something depending on how long we jabber yet, because we're already at an hour and 20. So the point is that it is a long thing to expect people to sit and watch through. You hope they're going to watch it like a TV show and just kind of put either watch it like a TV show or put it on the background and listen and pick up on things. That's why when you're doing video, you never make a point without telling a story, and never tell a story without making a point. And that's one of the reasons why I go through and try to recap things and repeat things the guests say, because I want people, if they're kind of off if they're off listening, it's like, hey, come back. It's kind of like that bold in the blog post. It's like, hey, come back. Cool. So kind of getting to the wind down segment, usually we'll talk a little bit about video content marketing. It's interesting. I've taped episodes with people that they really didn't understand what video content marketing was. They didn't really understand that it's called marketing only because, at least in my view, and I'd love to hear your feedback on this. In my view, it's called video content marketing, and marketing is only thrown in there because your goal is to get people with your video content to take an action, which is the goal of marketing, to take an action. And the action really is just to get to your website. It's not even usually it's a call to action, go to a website, get a free course, but it's not usually to sell anything. What's your opinion on video content marketing?
Yeah, it is interesting. I hadn't really thought about that. The whole idea of marketing is typically thought of as advertising and trying to persuade or convince you to do something, whereas content marketing is, essentially people providing amazing amounts of free value, and just realizing that some percentage of those people are going to be like, yeah, this really resonated with me, I want to go further. So I think of content marketing as, when you're speaking on stage and, there's 500 people in the audience, and they're, scribbling notes. Like you said, some people are really, it's going to resonate with them, and they want to pass it on. Some people, they're just going to be falling asleep. They're going to be tweeting or whatnot. And some people are like, wow, I want to buy this guy's book. I want to, I want to hire this person as a coach. And the idea is everyone in the room has the ability to get, if they're interested in your topic, they get something really of value. And the more you're willing to give away for free, the more of a perception is if people start paying you, the more they'll get. So it is marketing, but it's not, I guess, maybe not a capital M marketing.
Yeah, and it's marketing from a standpoint of it's usually the call to action, even in video content marketing. Usually the call to action is head to my website, get this free thing, or get some more free content, or subscribe. Take a free action. Like we talk about Phil DeFranco. It's or Philip DeFranco. If you watch his videos, at the end he'll pop up the subscribe buttons and everything. He's like, like on the daily, subscribe on the daily, go click on the links down below. But he's never asking you for any money or anything like that. So from a marketing standpoint, it's marketing from a standpoint to get you to take a free the next step and a free a free action. I think it's Ryan Dice from Digital Marketer that talks about. I think it was him that talks about basically, even if you can get people to make a small step, whether it's a free yes or whether it's a $1 course, to get them to take the next step and the next step. So the other thing that people need to realize, and I'd love to hear your feedback on this, is the fact that when it comes to video content marketing, let me ask you this question. I have my own opinion, but I want to hear yours first, because you're more important than I am. And I'm sick of being more important in this episode. And my ego is out to here. But that's besides the point.
So I'm crossing my fingers that I get it right now.
You will. Whatever answer it is right.
Okay.
So from your perspective, when you're talking about video content marketing and video content in general, what do you think the percentage is of things that people should give away for free and videos that should just be free content and a free call to action at the end versus the paid call to action and the buy my stuff, aspect of all this stuff we're doing?
Yeah, and I know Daryl Eves, I think, has this down to a formula, but so there's a couple things that, and this may change as YouTube changes, so my answer is going to be a little bit squirrely here, but the first thing is, you want to be giving away for free, and you want to be, asking for subscribe or a like or something very easy the vast majority of the time, 70–80% of the time, and then asking them to take an action that's a little more buy my stuff, or even go over to my website to download something for free or join my email list. That's kind of the minority of the time. And one of the reasons for that is just how YouTube, I think I mentioned it earlier, YouTube wants people to stay on YouTube. So they don't want you sending traffic back to your website because they're no longer making ad revenue. So just from a standpoint of people consuming your content, like I said, there was a guy who binge watched my content, so he got a number of subscribes in there, but or a number of go over to my websites or buy my Fiverr gig or something like that. But it wasn't this constant thing that would actually get annoying. So, and it wasn't something, I mean, he sat there and just kept watching and watching. So I just got a really big bing in my ears. Wow. Hopefully you guys didn't hear that. But he kept watching and watching and, was getting that, and then did end up on my website and connected with me from there. I think, not only from a technical aspect, but also from a usability aspect, if you're resonating with someone, they'll watch more content and they'll get to a piece that sends them over to your website to capture their email address, which is something I really encourage people to do. Get them to your website at some point, capture their email address, do a giveaway or something like that. But one other thing I want to mention is if people that are kind of watching YouTube right now, there are cards, and this is something, it's been out for less than 6 months. It's kind of going to replace annotations. It's a little technical thing. It's just, maybe if we got them on this video, it's a little like a little eye in a circle that shows up in the corner. But those are going to let you in the future do things like run your credit card. So I can say, hey, I'm wearing the Subscriber Nation shirt. If you'd like to buy my shirt, click up there, and this little thing will come across, and you'll be able to run your credit card, buy the shirt, get everything, and then continue watching the video. So that might change from a technical aspect. The cards are pretty, they're small. So you might even put a buy my T-shirt in every one, just don't reference it. But that way, people will be like, oh yeah, I really do want to buy a T-shirt. Let me click on this really light gray area up here, and boom, T-shirt bought, or Kickstarter campaign contributed to. There's a number of things that YouTube's already allowing. Go to your associated website, contribute, fan funding, and like Kickstarter type campaigns are already allowed, and they're going to be building that out to allow more things, with the intention of, quite frankly, making money off of credit card transactions, because it's a good way for YouTube to make money.
Yeah, exactly. And yes, I got the subtle hint. Okay, fine. I'll see if I can edit and throw a card in or something like that. Yeah, I got the subtle hint right. And okay,
yep, there we go.
Well, I'll tell you something. We could talk for hours and hours about this. What I hope everyone got from this segment was that using YouTube videos, you can build visibility, credibility, and be on your way to authority and get known and get found in your particular, niche. We've covered a lot of things that you can do to build and increase your visibility, and a lot of things you can build to increase your credibility. Rather than summarizing everything we just talked about for, Jesus, probably been a half hour now on this segment, go back and watch the video again and again, and really hone in on what we have, and then post your comments down below, or get in touch with either Brighton or myself, and I'm sure there's ways that ways we can explain more. I'm sure that DIY DIY video at authenticwestfilms.com/expert showcase. I'm quite sure that's going to help you out, and I'm quite sure you get a lot of value out of that, and value out of Brighton's upcoming Udemy course. So Brighton, before I give a closing call to action and wrap everything up, any last thoughts you want to leave the audience with today?
I think the only thought would be just do it. Start today. Start simple and work your way up from there.
Excellent. So thank you everybody for joining. And if you're a coach and you want to be a guest on Expert Showcase and realize that starting or continuing your video content library is going to set you apart from the rest of your competition, head over to expertshowcase.com. That's expertshowcase.com, and click the big yellow apply button. Send me your information. We'll take a look at it, see if you're a good fit. If you are, we'll book you and get you on the show. For those coaches out there who know that building a great video content library is going to set you apart, allow you to do great video content marketing and set you apart from all your competition, and realize that video is the way to go for you, I want you to head to VideoContent.Agency. Just take a look around, start to familiarize yourself, get to know the company a little bit, then get in contact with me. Let's talk and see if we're a good fit to work together. And if we are, we'll customize a package specifically for you and your business to create a great branded video content library around you, your topic, so that you can take your business to the next level. I had to breathe there for a second. So now, without further ado, everybody, once again, Brighton, thank you very much, and everybody, make it a great day.